We don't see you, but whoop, there you are.
This comes. Hello.
Hello, Miss
Hello.
Kimberly. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
How's Nadine?
Good. She's sleeping. Yay.
Yay!
She's doing well. Thank you.
Good.
Yeah. Good to hear from you.
We're glad to see you.
Very excited about camp.
We are too. We are
Are
too.
you coming? Are you coming?
Yeah. Last year I couldn't come. My husband was in England, but this time he put it on his calendar. He's not traveling. We're going.
Excellent.
Yay!
Yeah. We'll all be there. We're so excited.
Very
I
good.
heard good things about it. It's been very popular.
It
I
was.
think I just let somebody in. I'm hoping I didn't accidentally not let them in.
No, it says letting him in.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we had a great time last year at camp, so we're very excited to do it again.
That's so awesome. You guys are great.
And now that
Yay.
we've had 1 year, we kind of know what to expect. Whereas last year we were kind of flying blind. So,
It's a nice facility there.
oh, it's a great facility. It's
Oh.
beautiful. They were the staff and everybody was so helpful. It was amazing.
Oh, great.
There's actually what we were also excited about. I think one of the very first things we noticed is they actually have a helipad so that they can, because they have different camps for different disabilities and different syndromes and illnesses and stuff, so they can get you to Nashville in like 20 minutes with the help because they have a helipad right there on
And
campus.
there's just a regular ER 5 minutes
down the road. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
Wow.
if and God forbid anything happen, like it's
And I think the thing that I thought that was so sweet is they said, okay, so like if a kid has an accident or there's a problem, tell the parents just to put those sheets outside the door because in every cabin there's laundry facilities. We'll do the washing. I mean, they're like they treat everybody so
Yeah,
nicely.
it
They can
was-
go up to the cafeteria and they will mix anything. They will grind it. They'll whatever you need to have do it. They made me unsweetened iced tea. I was so happy. I was so happy because everything there is so sweet. I'm like, can I just have just regular iced tea? Oh, of course, no problem. I mean, there wasn't a grumpy person there.
and it was we had a great time, and it was overwhelming, and it was emotional, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. So we're excited to do it again.
It was lovely. Yeah, we're very, very happy.
All
All
right.
right. Why don't we get started? Because she's here on time. We should reward people.
Yeah, and we've got other people here. We got another person that tots to teens tutoring. So let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I saw that. Okay. So I'm Susan Norwell, Educational Specialist Co-founder of Rett University.
And I'm Courtney Barnum, Educational Specialist and Training Coordinator for Rett University.
And tonight we're going to take a look at graphic organizers for literacy and communication. And part 2 is going to be next month, which is moving from graphic organizers to actual writing. So we're kind of doing it in a couple of parts. And this started out to be one thing, and it's kind of turned into a lot more things. So forgive me if it seems like we're covering a lot more than we said we were going to cover, because we are. So why don't you you get the greatest saying, so you should read that, and then
I can do that.
you
All
can
right.
do that.
So it says, with organization comes empowerment. And when we started talking about graphic organizers and being a teacher myself, being a previous teacher of kids with special needs and working with our students, I realize organization for our kiddos is so important on so many different levels, because when they are organized, they can do so many more different things, whether it comes to their body movements, whether it comes to reading, whether it comes to writing, whether it comes to making words, all those things, whether it comes to communication. That organization is so important. So, graphic organizers, what are they? They're visually organizing information to help students understand and remember. They're helping the students create links between what they know and the new information that they're getting. It helps students with dysgraphia, executive functioning issues that can cause trouble with writing. We all know that our students have issues with writing. We know some of our students have issues with that, apraxia and things like that. All of those things kind of fall into that executive functioning. engages students in active learning, it increases motivation, it simplifies complex materials, and it teaches and increases comprehension while helping our students to organize their language, narratives, and constructions. I used graphic organizers in my classroom on a pretty much constant basis. It was taking the big picture of our book studies or whatever we happen to be learning about and putting it into areas and language that help them understand the concepts better. So graphic organizers are a huge, they're so important for our kiddos for reading and communication.
So one of the things that struck me, I wrote a whole course on narrative construction, and I think that there's a lot of kids that have trouble with narrative construction because they don't start with the big idea and start to give you the rest of the story. You know, what did you do at school? And you get like a little piece here and a little piece here, but you don't get the organizational piece that helps you understand what's going on. So I think that for some kids, that seeing the visual build out is really helpful for them for that. The other thing is that I think we talk a lot about comprehension. I think we do a lot about assessing comprehension, but I don't think we do enough. I'm not going to say we don't do enough, but I'm just saying I don't think there's enough done with teaching comprehension. And I think that teaching comprehension around more complex material, you know, the emergent reader, the reader even up to like, you know, halfway through kindergarten, maybe even after kindergarten. But if you start to teach and organize information as they're learning it, they start to understand it better, and they start to understand what they're supposed to do to understand it. That's the piece that we need to teach, because I don't think I want kids memorizing things, but I want kids understanding what they've read so they can do something with it. And so I find that these really are helpful, and they're even helpful at the emergent level. So I think that when you look at this graphic organizer, this would be a graphic organizer I would use for a conventional kid. This is not a graphic organizer that I would use for an emergent kiddo or an emergent adult, depending on where they are in terms of their reading. So we use flip books, we use core words to fill in sections. And I think that the idea that it not only supports comprehension, but it teaches is what's important here, that it teaches kids how to think about writing. You know, what's the important thing that they should be writing about? What's the organization of the writing so that they understand what's happening enough that they can say it. They can create it in writing. It creates a visual, I think, that helps them write, and I think again, I'm going to come back to that narrative development. I just find that our kids, in terms of communication, are really lacking the ability to tell a story. Like, what happened to them? Can they use the language to put that together? I think it's harder for them to find all that language on their device, but if they can write it, you can create the access for that story for them on their device. And so I have a speech therapist I'm working with at a school I'm consulting with, and she's really cool. I really like her a lot. And she took my storytelling template that I made ages ago in Communicator and said, you know what, I like this. Can I use it to make something in Snap? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead, as long as you give it to me when you're done. Because the child was really familiar with that setup so that she could go through this sequence and tell a story. And it translated over to Snap really well for her. And we found that she's in junior high, so it's beginning more and more important with her peers for her to be able to tell a story. And for her to do some writing that she can create some of the stories that are in there is really important too. So she's taking ownership over what she wants to say. And the graphic organizer has helped her stay organized. And so I think it supports both emergent and conventional writers, just in different ways. So this is a level A book, really easy book. Make a face pumpkin, make a bat pumpkin, make a cat pumpkin. I mean, it's a repetitive text that we're all kind of used to when we're taking a look at, emergent readers. There's an easy repetitive text. Each page has a detail. It's not like you have to search for the details throughout the story. Every page is a detail. Face pumpkin, bat pumpkin, and each detail would fit then into the graphic organizer. which is what this kiddo did. So now, how do we teach this idea of main idea in detail for kids that aren't writing? What do we do here? And so for this particular child, they were really backed up about the whole writing thing. They didn't really have enough making words under their belt. They didn't have enough ABCs under their belt to do it. But they still needed to understand what author's purpose was. They still needed to understand what the concept is of a main idea in detail, or compare contrast, or whatever it is, the skill that you're teaching. And so they were able to, and again, this was somebody who doesn't have a whole great attending system in their packet either. So what we did is we just took different pictures, some from the story, some obviously not from the story. And she would choose between the graphics using her yes and no. But now she had a concept of what it meant to tell me what you learned from the story. What were some of the details from the story all of a sudden had meaning for her? Now, you really need to have that yes-no for sure, but this was a really easy way to build the foundation of what we're looking for when we ask them to write about it. And so I'm really committed to the idea that, especially in Rett, you have to teach the process, the mechanics of things before you can teach the concept, all right? So an ABC flip book, for instance, you've got to learn how to use that tool motorically, organizationally, conceptually before you can write with it. Just like any other kid learns to use a pencil before they write with it, right? So the same idea is here, is that let's get the writing out of it, and let's just teach the concept of main idea in detail. Let's just teach sequencing without a lot of the writing getting in the way, so that they're so comfortable with the idea of it that by the time they're adding letters and words to it, they're feeling really solid in this arena, which I think is really helpful. Now, here's the same book with an emergent kid using invented spelling. And so she understands the concept of main idea in detail. I'm of the belief that it helps in the beginning with writing to link it to reading, so that we have some kind of shared context. Or if it's going to be an experience we're writing about, it needs to be a shared experience. Because when people are invented spellers, unless you know what's been going on or what they're talking about, sometimes it can be hard to figure out. Like GON. Now, because I've read the book and I know that there's a ghost pumpkin, it was easy for me to say, oh, wait a minute, are you trying to spell ghost? I mean, her whole face lit up. And then I could use that as grist for the mill, so to speak, to kind of go through the letters and sounds and say, I can see where you got the beginning of ghost really well. What about that ending? And she was like, she put her head down like, no, that is not what should be there. But she's just learning to put the internal sound out there into writing, and that's a big challenge when you can't say it with your mouth. She's got to have that internal sound and keep it in there. So we need to interpret the invented spelling. Sometimes we have to really interpret the invented spelling, but in this level, they're usually doing beginning sounds first, then they're doing ending sounds, and then they're adding in the vowels. Now, this happens to be the video that I just spent the better part of an hour trying to export out of Camtasia, which I might go back in my Camtasia and show you later. But I think what's important is if we look at the two juxtaposition with each other, that you look at somebody choosing pictures, learning the concept, and you look at the same book, and here's obviously the next level where that person has got the concept, and now they're able to add words and letters and words to it, which I think is really important. But I just hate to throw just writing. I've done similar things like this with kids where all they've given me is beginning letters. Where we did the butterfly book and all they gave me was a G for green and an R for red and a B for big, and that was it. And that's great because they've got the concept and they've got the beginning sound. So you can go from pictures to some beginning sounds to something that looks like this. So it's not it sometimes isn't even a straight line. Like this child on a certain day might be so overwhelmed by the task from her regulation standpoint that we're going to go back to just beginning sounds. And I'm not going to make a fuss over it because when you're dysregulated, it's hard to write. Because writing in and of itself, I think, is really dysregulating for our kids in many things. And that's where the video is supposed to be, is right there.
It's right there.
But it isn't. But it isn't. All right. Then let's take a look at, because we're going to look at getting a little bit more conventional. And we'll get to conventional the next time, because we're going to look at kids that are writing paragraphs and putting things together in a different way. But what I tend to do when I'm doing it from a book is we'll read 3 pages, and that's what you'll see in the video, and then write one idea from that. Instead of making a kid go through all the way through a book and remember the book and then write, I'm feeling like I'm asking too much of them when they're beginning writers. That what I'd rather do is chunk up the book. So we're chunking up that main idea and detail, which I tend to build into the book. And that we're working on ideation now and not just memorization, because I'm not so keen on memorization. I tend to, as my kids are reading more complex books and they're longer books, I'm tending to chunk up the books and doing the comprehension pieces in chunks also, because I just don't want them feeling like they have to memorize everything. I want them understanding it more than memorizing it. I used to feel that way even in school. It's like we'd have this huge novel, and then we would take this comprehension test with 30 questions about the novel. And I used to think, boy, I really enjoyed reading the novel. Somebody had given me these questions that were more thoughtful instead of chunks of memorized stuff. It would have been a much better use of my time. The nuns disagreed. That's okay. All right. So here's Olive, and I look really quizzical there, don't I? Here's Olive, and we're reading, this is a level C book. It's about spiders. And I just want you to look about how we kind of chunked it up here. This spider's going to do. We'll finish this page. We found out what else a spider does. It does that. We wrote that already. Now let's see what it does. Oh. This is your favorite. It does. It climbs.
Why do I have to do that?
Well, why do you have to do it? Because everybody learns to read. Everybody learns to read and write. It's my rule. It's school's rule.
Something's happening.
Something's happening. That spider is doing something. It's a little scary.
No.
They are a little scary. But this one, I'm looking at this one. He doesn't scare me so much. He's just on the stem. Yeah, it doesn't scare me too much. As long as he stays on the stem and doesn't come in my house. So did you see what she hit was the who do you think they are, but she didn't hold it long enough.
They are.
Who do they think they are? Well, I think they think they're a spider. Who do they think they are? As long as they stay outside, they're fine. They come inside, I'm going to say, who do they think they are? And that is right. Oh my gosh. All right. We know this information. This is an important piece of information here. Because it's about all spiders. All of them. Yep. But now we can read about what it does. There you go. Very nice. That's the exact word of what it does. So now she went on to read 2 more pages, 2 more groups of pages that had the vocab, it had the reading, it had the summary it's going to do. We'll finish this page. We found out what else. Okay. So, oh dear. Yes, okay. So, this more conventional writing is there's a link to reading, vowels are added, they use word prediction. If they're near less than 50 and making words, you start to see them able to use word prediction because they've got a good solid foundation in vowels so that the word prediction actually makes sense and it works for them. Still, they need lots of writing support and regulation support. So here's the regulation part.
Little bit upset. Oof. Little bit worried.
This is the part I didn't think I was going to put in. I needed to.
Mad about it. But I'm thinking that instead of being grumpy about working, we could try to be a little bit excited. What do you think?
Oh, she just gave you eyes, Miss Susan.
What?
She just gave you eyes like, oh God, take your excited.
So you have to understand too, you have to understand that her teacher came on a Saturday to her house so that we could do some training. And I am like hoping that she does a really great job because we've been trying to get this to happen for a long time. So like we're really excited the teacher's here and I'm like, oh no, don't fall apart now. So
I think awesome.
yeah, I got the evil eye, but now she's gonna come out.
I know. Are you jealous that other people don't have to go to school? And you're a little embarrassed and a little annoyed by it? Myself be annoyed too. But you know what? I know it's a little busy, but I'll tell you the two things I want to do. All right? You read this great story. Okay, I'm going to put you on pause because you know what happens. You just like to talk to me and then we don't get any work done. And then I'm like racing after you. All right, so here we are. Oh no, gosh. Are we both going to have to cry today? No. No, we're not.
We read, was it the spider book?
This was about the spider book. And you wrote, remember you told me that it was all about spiders, was about information. It was an information book. It was not an entertaining book where we were laughing and hooting and hollering over the spiders. It was not about a persuading book where everybody's trying to get you to love spiders and want to have them at home. It was to give you information. And you told me that spiders eat bugs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I eat bugs. What about you, Olive? Do you eat bugs?
Mm-hmm.
Do you? I need to know right now. No or yes?
Yes or no?
You decide. So we're going to look over here. We might have to face you towards me a little bit instead of toward her talker. There you go. Thanks for getting your calm down. And when you're ready, you're going to look at the yes or no and let me know if you've been having any bug snacks lately. All right, that's looking at your talker, so you need to get in the center. And when you're ready, you'll look at my yes or my no. No.
Here we go.
No.
Finally got
I'm
me.
thinking no bugs. But we learned that the spiders eat bugs. But what else do the spiders do? What do they do? You know, like, are they dancers? Do they dance? I don't know. Do they swim? I'm trying to think of what animals do, but I don't know. Can you tell me one more thing that spiders do?
So now we've got her regulated, and I'm going to tell you that the hardest thing to have kids do is write if they're not regulated because they need to be regulated.
Little bit upset. Oof.
Very important. All right, so here she is doing a little writing to fill in what's left.
All right, so we've got the M, and when I put the M up there, I have some words I can choose from. I can choose from my, or me, or man, or more. My, or me, or mad, or more. All right? So I don't know, do you want any of those words? Mad, me, or my, me, mad, or more? But we could cover it up now. And my theory here is that I like the kids to get the first 2 or 3 letters out. So I only do the first 4 words. Yeah, because I don't want them just doing word prediction to death. All right. Do you need any of those words? No. All right. So what do we need after the M? All right. So here's our M rule. Our M rule is it has to be a vowel. Never, never, never any letter after an M but a vowel. So let's look at our vowels and see what we need. Those are our yellow letters. Do we need A, yes or no? Ooh, big look. Thank you. Yes. All right. So let me write it. We got M and A. We love this. I know a word that starts with M, A. I'm going to put it up there. Mom's going to uncover it. So now if it shows up within the next 4, we're okay to use it. You know what I'm saying? So we're being more pushing the writing, not just the picking words, you know? So I've got ma, like my ma. We've got my, we've got med, and we've got make. So our question is, what do the spiders do? Do you think we need any of those words to help us? Ooh, you're like way over on that. Yes. Say, yes, Susan, I kind of would like one of those words. All right. So do we need ma? Yes or no? No. Thank you for getting so still and then going right over to that no. That was a really nice job. How about my? Do we need my? What does the spider do? My. Yes or no? No. No. All right. You're doing a pretty fast job on some of these yes and no's. How about mad? Is the spider mad? Yes or no? Okay. How about make? Yes or no? Wow. Very nice looking over at that yes. Make. And you got both your eyes over there. That's hard to do. All right. So I'm really I'm watching the movie impressed with her eyes because it's really hard for her. She actually has a lot of breath holding and she was really calm, which is I think she was upset before. She had her teacher there watching her from school on a Saturday. I never see her on a Saturday. And so that regulation is really important. But this is what she spelled, M-A-K-E. She did the M-A, and how I code that is I would put a line under the M-A, and then under the K-E, I'd put another line and put word prediction, W-P, so I can tell in my records how much is her writing and how much is word prediction. And then she wrote S-I-L, which got her to silk. So we could really see the benefits of her making words, but also the organizational piece for her so that she had a way to have the main idea detail and figure it out. The question was, what do they do? You know, we had a graphic organizer that, you know, what did they do? And then there was a thing around it. So I really think that, and again, this is like scratching the surface, but I mean, if we don't teach the visual organization, I think that it makes the comprehension harder, and then it makes it harder to link it from the comprehension of the book into the writing. But I think the same thing can happen if, let's see, we had a common experience together. Maybe we went to the zoo, and now we've got pictures from the zoo, and we could create a graphic organizer with the pictures and then move to words if we wanted to, and then from the words move into sentences. But I think it's the concept of not waiting for writing. I think people wait too long to write with our kids. If they write it all with them, we wait too long. And that we should do this even when they're at just the picture stage so that we can teach them the organization. And then when they have enough, you know, some letters, even if they're just scribbling in each of the spaces, it's fine. That's their writing. And then we go from there. So you get to say the last words there, Courtney, because you find these great things. I'm just barely lucky I'm getting this thing going on. And if people want to see the other video, I can do that. It's just a little bit long, but.
Okay, so it's just a good system shortens the road to the goal. And again, going back to what Susan says, getting them that organization. And I will be very honest, when I first started teaching, I didn't understand that as well as what I've learned in the past 5 years working with Rett, you, and working with Susan, and getting that organization and teaching, helping our kids learn that organization and getting that going so that they can, and again, I think it helps with motor planning. It helps with so many things that they have to think less, like they have to think less. They already have to work so hard to get things done. And anything we can do that shortens that road to the goal for them and helps them not have to work as hard is such a blessing to them, and it's a blessing to me because I get to see the fun stuff that they get to write and do and things like that. So
Yeah, and I think too that one of the things that we have the benefit of is working with so many kids and adults that over time you start to see the benefits of what you've done.
yes,
When you see some of the writing some of my older girls are doing, it's like it just kind of knocks my socks off but you see how all the stuff that we did in the beginning made a big difference. And so I'm pretty excited about that. So I don't know who's all left because I think some people turned off their cameras, but if they want to see this other video, though we are getting near the end, I just might put it in the next one. Do you want to see it?
hi, Miss Nadine.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, sweet girl.
So are you guys coming to camp?
They're registering for it, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that'll be so fun.
Yay!
That is so cool. That is so cool. All right, let me see if I can get this to play. It's a little bit long, so I won't play all of it. But, oh, it says the export finished. You're kidding me. While I'm doing nothing, the export finished? Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how much I've worked on this for the last hour.
Just to save the date for you guys, our next web chat will be on February 13th, and that's going to be taking that graphic organizer and moving it over to writing. So we kind of talked about graphic organizers tonight. We'll take on February 13th, we'll start taking what we've got in graphic organizers and how do we turn it into more conventional writing.
Okay. So this is Kalika, and Kalika is really interesting because she does really like to write. She's just here. She's in kindergarten. So she's the one that wrote GON for Go, CAT, and BAT.
Okay.
But, you know, what do you think? Do we need an A, B, C, or D next after that C? Yes. Yes, we do, Susan. Okay. How about an A? So here's we are. I caught the smile. I could see the smile, but I wasn't going to just accept the smile. But I think I knew she wanted it. It's just hard for her to get her body together. You are a very good thinker and a very good writer. So what do you think about the A? Yes. Did I get that right? You know me, I'm trying to get it right. Did I get it right? You want that A. Get your body organized. Atta girl. Yes, Susan. I'm going to even tell you yes again because I'm just got very organized and very definite about that letter. I know, it's so exciting. And there it says, I think we might need one more letter. So the reason I wanted to show this is not just because of her writing. I really like how happy she is when she's writing. I mean, to me, it's not just what we can teach someone to do or what we can get someone to do. It's just how happy she is when she's doing it. And trust me, she's not always this happy. I mean, she can get really dysregulated. But we've worked so hard on the regulation piece. And I get to zoom into school every week. And I get to zoom in with the parents every week. And it's just made this difference where her gen ed, she's now in first grade, where her gen ed teachers were like, oh my gosh, we had no idea what she could do. And it's not like I wanted to hear that. What I wanted to hear was that they already knew. But what I'm happy to hear is that now they understand what she can do. and that she can be that happy doing it. But I think that we had to put in place a way for her to stay regulated throughout her day, which can be really important. So it's a long video because it takes us a long time to get to the T, as you can imagine, because it's toward the end of the alphabet. But I think that that's what I'm finding with all of my kids that have really gotten farther in making words, or far. Like I have a girl that just got into book 2, and what they're writing is so amazing that I just had a talk with David Copenhagen, and I'm like, I want you to see what my girls are writing. And he said the most wonderful thing. He said, somebody a few years ago asked me how far the girls could go, and I said, one day they're going to be giving the keynote at one of these talks. He said, and I think one of your girls will be able to do it. Because he's looking at their writing going, wow, look at this. And that to me was, we're moving, and how can we help more people move in that area, and what have we done that's working, and what will we learn in the future that's working? Because I think the things that I'm doing now are different even than the things that I did a year ago. I mean, they're not totally different, but I've added to it because I keep learning from every girl. So anyway, we're like really excited about writing. We did a whole writing what is the best thing about me project for the whole month of November and end of November, beginning and all through December. I mean, we had so many of them writing about it, and it was so amazing to hear how many of the girls said the best thing about me is I'm smart, or I have a smart brain, or
something about their brain, or clever, or like it was like Susan and I would get together. We meet every week, and we'd get together, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, guess what? So and so!" Like it was. We had so much fun getting their writings and watching what they were writing. So
yeah, I gave a talk in Barcelona, and I opened up the talk with what Lily wrote, which is the best part of me is how you taught me to read and write. Yeah. I mean, I was like floored.
Susan,
I was just. Yeah.
Christy put in the chat, how do we get beyond the frustration? I think my kiddo gives up because it's hard in the beginning. Christy Houston.
Her daughter is not giving up. I have to send her the video of the last time we were working together at school. Christy, I'll send you the video. It may be that she does differently for you than she does for other people, which is really pretty normal.
I think too is I really work on with my girls when they're hitting that frustration is giving them that language. I go into that quick fires and the greetings and social and saying, I don't like it. I'm mad. Because I want
like we did with Olive. I don't know, Christy, were you on when we saw Olive and how angry she was at the beginning?
Christy, you're not the mom is a bummer. You are not a bummer.
You are not. No. I think that writing's hard, and I think one of the things you have to understand about Charlotte is she's just now, because she finally got an A, that she's just now getting taught in that environment, right. And she is thrilled. So just wait. Give her time.
Right. And I think, like I said, giving them that language and just around so many things. It's funny. I was talking to a teacher today. We're talking about IEP goals for my kiddo. And she's a 9th grader. And she's got all the sass and all the teenage attitude. And I said, we're working on wants and needs, which I'm not saying wants and needs are not important, but does she have any way to negate or tell you I don't want to, or I don't like this, or this is stupid? And she's like, well, I don't know if we can let her. And I said, like I say this to people all the time. I'm like, what's it
with her behavior?
Right. I said, she's saying it with her behavior. What is the first thing? I don't know about you all, but when my alarm goes off in the morning, the first thing I do is not go, yay, I get to wake up. I'm like, I don't want to. Do I have to? Giving our girls that language, I have found has been life-changing for so many of my girls, because instead of going to sleep in class now, like I have one little girl who, when I first started with her, she slept for that's all she wanted to do. When we now have the language, she's now staying awake during her class. Her teacher's like, this is a completely different child. That's what we want. We want them to use that language. So Christy, maybe giving her some more of that language around that too would really help in going, we're still going to do it. Maybe we only do like one little part of it and then we take a break or whatever, but we're still going to do it, but we can have that language around it.
Yeah, and Christy, you and I could do a session together. That might be helpful too. Because right now it's all done at school, just might be on a holiday or something. If you want to, just let me know.
She said that would be helpful.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Well, goodbye. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us. I think we have our emails at the very beginning of the presentation. So let me go
At the
back.
end too, Susan. If you
Oh,
go,
at the end?
yeah.
All right, hold on. I have to get this movie that exported while I was like being angry with it. All right, so there's our emails if you want to reach us. If you have any suggestions for other things or things you want to see that have to do with this topic, just let us know and we'll be happy to do it. All right?
All right, guys.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Bye.